Hey there gaming fans, Darth Carnivorous here and welcome back to another epic gaming video. And guys, tonight I'm going to show off my newly acquired Sega Game Gear. Now I used to have one of these in my late teenage years, I think I was like 17 or 18 maybe, when I first got one. My brother's friend, who both of us were notorious for, you know, swapping things, trading things, obviously swapping games and whatever else. Just put that a little bit higher, guys. And so yeah, we were notorious for, like, you know, swapping things. He came in one night and just says to me, you know, do you want this? He's like, I'm thinking about selling it. If you're interested, you know, you can either buy it off me or, you know, we can trade a couple of games for it or whatever. So he had a Sega Game Gear with Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Okay, so honestly, for the guys, for the life of me, I can't remember what the hell I swapped them. I don't know if it was one game or two games, I'm not really sure. But we did the trade anyway. And yeah, I couldn't be happier because back when obviously the Game Boy was out and the Game Gear was out, I really wanted a Game Gear. I actually never knew one existed until it was one of my friends in school who brought one in. And I remember seeing him playing at playtime. You know, I remember seeing him playing it. I was thinking, what is that? You know, and I thought, is that Sonic the Hedgehog? So I had a little quick go of it, but it was one of those ones. He's very possessive over. It was always one. He was like a sort of spoiled kid in school. You know, he got everything he ever wanted. You know, he had a Game Boy and he had a Game Gear at the same time. You know, he had like an unlimited supply of batteries as well, so he didn't have to worry about that. Even though batteries back then were very, very expensive, but. Yeah, that was my first time seeing a Game Gear, and I thought, wow, this thing looks really, really cool. You know, because it was backlit. You know, is it backlit or frontlit? I'm sure it's frontlit. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so it lit up anyway, so you could play it in the dark. It had a colour screen as well. Back then, it looked amazing. Obviously, nowadays the screen quality isn't the best, especially. You know, the older systems that I've got, you know, really bad capacitors as well, so the screen will start to get darker, it'll get a bit more fuzzier, get a bit more blurrier looking, you know, so, you know, those sort of things need to be replaced. So, my friend, my really, really good friend actually, he does a lot of mods, he does a lot of modding, you know, like you can mod systems. He'll buy something that's broken, he'll fix it, reshell it, clean it all, even put a new screen on it, and sell it for, you know, 4 or 5 times what he paid for it. You know, he's really smart that way. So he's fixed a lot of things for me in the past, and he's put a lot of things together for me in the past as well. And this thing here, he's actually put, you know, he's done for me. So like I said, my friend, well, my brother's friend, he gave me his Game Gear with 4 games and an AC adapter for a Sega Mega Drive. So if you guys remember, you can use a Sega Mega Drive's AC adapter to power the system, so you don't have to worry about batteries. So that was fine by me. And you know something, guys, for a whole month, every single night, I would just sit and play it before bed. You know, it was great. Turn the lights off, just plug it in, and then just sit and play to my heart's content. It was great. The only thing is though, about 20% of the screen was cut off at the top, so basically the health bars in Mortal Kombat were cut off, so you kind of had to guess how close you were to defeating a character, or vice versa. You didn't know how much health you actually had, so yeah, it did kind of suck, but it was still a good experience as well, because the Game Gear still, to me, still looks amazing. It still actually looks quite futuristic, to be honest, like for a handheld. Even though it's only got like what 3 buttons and a D-pad, it still looks really, really good. So anyway, I got myself one of these, which is a Retro 6. This is an official Retro 6 case for Game Gear. This is made specifically for Game Gear. And yeah, so I mean, you can get like the official ones, which are pretty much just a bit of material and a zip or a bit of Velcro that just kind of, you know, protects it a little bit, you know. But the Game Gear that I got was in its original shell. It did have a glass lens put on it, which was great. As you guys know, that glass lenses are less prone to scratches than plastic ones, and obviously Nintendo learned that the hard way with their Nintendo Switches. Anyway, so yeah, I'll just leave that there. So it came with a IPS screen as well, so all these newer systems, or older systems, are getting, you know, newer screens put on them, so they look better. You know, like, especially like the form factor of like an original Game Boy Advance. That's the best form factor. You know, a horizontal layout rather than being a vertical. Don't get me wrong, I've nothing against the original Game Boy or Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy Color or Game Boy Light. I have nothing against that layout. That's just the way they were made. But for someone with big hands, it does get a bit cramped at times. You know, I mean, I do have my, for this, specifically for this video, I do have my Game Boy handy. Obviously, this is my DMG. Just give me a sec, guys, to get this out of the case. And yeah, so this is one that I've got. I have done a video on this one before. So as you can see, it's got like a atomic purple custom shell. It's got a custom lens there as well. This is glass also, and I've also put a anti-glare screen protector on there as well. So it just reduces the, you know, the amount of glare that goes onto the screen. And yeah, I love this thing. I really do. I do love playing on this thing because, even though, like I say, guys, I've got big hands. I mean, I can just easily cover this thing with my hands. You know, it's so easy. This form factor here, for this size of console, it's a lot easier. But don't get me wrong, guys, you know, my hands do get cramped from time to time. But I can still game on this for, you know, a couple of hours if I wanted to. And obviously, I've got the flash card as well, so I can play any Game Boy or any Game Boy Color game. Obviously, I can't play any Game Boy Color game on this. I have to dig out my Game Boy Color, which is actually just right there in that box right there. My big box of tricks. If you watched my last video, you would have seen it on that. And yeah, I do love this thing. Plus, it's IPS as well. And believe it or not, guys, that is the lowest brightness. I mean, that's the highest brightness. So as you can see, it's like a solar flare. You can barely see it unless you know, come back and focus. But I do love this thing. I really, really do. Even I would love to get a Game Boy Color put into a shell like this. That would just be perfect for me, you know, because I just love the form factor, you know, the size of this thing, how, you know, how robust it is and how thick it is, you know. And don't you say anything dirty, don't you dare. I'll get you grounded. Anyway, so yeah, I'll just put that to one side. And here is the main attraction of this video. Yeah, sorry for waffling on, guys, but like I said, guys, before I do this one, it was in its original shell with a glass lens. And when my friend had kind of put this all together for me, I says, you know, what do you want for doing it? And he says, just give me the shell. He's like, I can use it for something else in the future. I says, right, no problem. Okay, that's fine by me. So this thing has been reshelled, and it's the colours that I've picked as well. So it's not anything specific. It's not anything too fancy. It's not like, obviously, like you get this. It's like transparent purple or whatever. It's nothing like that. So there we go, and here she is. I mean, look at that. And I'll just put the flashlight on, guys, just so you can see. Yes, this is grey. So yeah, it's got the custom Retro 6 shell, which is grey. It's got the Retro 6 buttons as well. As you can see, it's got the black start button, the black 1 and 2. It's even got the black power button, which that's usually red, whereas in the start button was usually like a sort of blue colour. But this is the original D-pad, because when he put this together, he put the new D-pad in, and he told me that the D-pad from Retro 6 was garbage compared to the original one. He said that whenever he tried to do some sort of directional, diagonal movement, so that way, that way, that way, or that way, it would not input unless he pressed really, really hard on it. So when he swapped out the D-pad for the original one, he said it was just perfect. You know, you couldn't get any better than that. So as you can see, this has got the glass lens as well, so this is a lot less prone to scratches as well. And obviously when I'm done with this thing, it goes back in its case, so I don't need to worry about like leaving it lying out, or maybe the dog, or even myself knocking it over and then getting a couple of little nicks and scratches here, because that just breaks my heart when that happens. But yeah, so other than D-pad, it's got obviously the sort of, you know, brand new buttons. It's also got a USB-C port there as well for charging. There's your volume wheel, your headphone jack, link cable as well. That's obviously the port, which is, let's see, so there it is, even though it's like a really fat HDMI. yeah, so that's really cool. It also has a new speaker put in here as well, so it's a lot louder. I'll actually turn it up. I'll crank up the volume when I obviously start the showing off gameplay and stuff like that. Okay, sorry for the jump cut there. My the way I'm sitting, my back's getting kind of sore, so I thought we can go a bit further back and sit up against the couch just so I've got a bit more back support. Yeah, the joys are getting older, especially if you get a back injury. So anyway, yeah. So like I said, it's got new buttons, the original D-pad, a new screen lens as well, which is it's a lighter grey colour. It's a darker grey colour. Sorry, this is obviously normal grey. This is sort of darker grey. You can get different colours like blue and orange and green and things like that, but I just really wanted the grey colour, and I just think the way it's turned out, it looks absolutely amazing. It really does. It's got I've shown off all this stuff as well, so it's got a USB-C port there for charging, and it has Retro 6 batteries behind these compartments here. There we go. So there's one in there and there's one in there as well, so that's really good. So you get roughly, depending on the game you're playing, depending on your brightness, depending on your volume, you can get between 13 and 16 hours on these batteries, which is amazing. Plus you can play and charge at the same time as well. And just for the record, guys, I've been playing this thing non-stop and I've only charged it once in a month. So yeah, it's really good. Plus, as you can see here, I do have a flash card as well. So this is the Flash Gear GG Pro, and it also supports Game Gear, Sega Master System, and Sega or SG 1000 ROMs as well. So that is really good. So this thing does have everything going for it. It's really, really good. So the only one thing is though, guys, the only one thing that bothers me, it doesn't bother me that much, it only bothers me ever so slightly, and it's the screen. Now it's an IPS screen, okay, so it's a new screen, it's super bright, it's super sharp, games look absolutely fantastic on it. So the guys had to adjust my back again there. Anyway, yeah, so it's super bright, it's super sharp, it looks amazing, but it's one of those sort of screens where if you kind of tilt it at a certain angle, it will go that sort of inverted look. I'll show that, you know, in a few moments anyway. And also, as you can see, you get two lanyards, which is really nice of them. They put one at the left side or the right side, just depends on what they want. You know what I always found was funny? Usually when I get, you know, a new handheld, I always watch videos on them, and you know, one of the systems I really want to get is an Atari Lynx, especially a Model 2, because I think that system just looks amazing. Yes, I can emulate the games, but I like to play on original hardware. That's why I have these things. The weird thing is though, you get the flip button for left-handed people, which my wife's left-handed. You know, that's just, you know, it's not a disability. It's just the way that they are. You know, just obviously people can do certain things certain ways, and left people are just, that's it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But the fact that the D-pad's always on the left and the buttons are always on the right, flipping that over would just confuse you. No matter if you're left-handed or right-handed. I don't get it. You know, anyway, so enough of that. But honestly, guys, the quality of the shell, it just feels amazing in hand. I just realised how big my hand is compared to this. Yeah. So yeah, I can pretty much cover, you know, most of it with my hand. So yeah. But for systems like this, for me, big hands, big systems, I love it. That's why I have the, you know what, guys, actually I'll just show a little comparison off before I get this thing started. So here I have a Lenovo Legion Go. I absolutely love this handheld. This is a Windows based handheld, if you don't really know that already. So similar to your Steam Deck, but it's not Linux, it's Windows, so you can get away with a lot more on this thing. Like games wise, application wise, mods, all that sort of thing, all the good, pretty much anything you can do on a PC you can do in this thing. So this is the size of the Lenovo Legion Go, and I'll just try and get these in a shot, and there we go. So this was the biggest handheld at the time, this is now the biggest handheld. This is an 8.8 inch screen, this is like a 3.2 inch screen, I can't really remember. But yeah, I mean, you can actually fit this whole thing. Actually, can you? I think you can. Oh, you can. You can fit the whole thing. You can fit the whole thing inside the Lenovo Legion Go. That's absolutely crazy. Just put that to one side, I'll put that away later. Anyway, so yeah, this is the menu. So there's a few levels of brightness as well if you use the contrast wheel. I think there's 5 levels. So this here is the lowest brightness, which may be best for this video. So obviously this is the highest brightness, where if I go closer, let's see if I can focus. There we go. That's the brightest you can get. So in real life it looks a lot better, whereas on video it doesn't look that great. So you've got a couple of directories here. So you've got GG, Sega Master System, SG-1000, Save, E-Master System. Is that a Q? Is that an E? Hard to tell. And Game Gear as well, EverDrive. So if you go into this one, you've got all your games there. You just go through all your different pages, and it does have the a lot of games do have the the European version or the US version or even the Japanese version. And same as if you go into this one as well, there's like a million Alex the Kid. And this is every Master System game. So as you can see, it's got the US A to Z, European A to Z, Japanese A to Z, other regions as well. It's got unlicensed A to Z, Game Gear conversions. It's got a lot of stuff on here, guys. You'll never get bored. And it's the same with Game Gear as well. So let's just load up a game, shall we? Actually, so I've got a game already loaded up on this. So the way these flash carts work is you mount a game to the memory, and then it means that as soon as you come in, as soon as you power this thing back on, you just press the number 2 and press that to start the game. And as you can see how quickly that loads in. Okay, and I think this may be, that is GG the Shinobi 2 or Part 2. This is a great game. It's a really good game. You know, I'm really chuffed with this game. There we go, the GG Shinobi Part 2. And oh, actually, yeah, this is how loud it gets. Yeah, that is super loud, as you can obviously hear. Game on you. So if you want to try another game, you just have to power on. There's no like in-game reset or nothing like that, so it'd be better if there was. I don't know if like the official EverDrive has an in-game reset. Probably does. You know, I know the EverDrive has like save states with us, and this one doesn't. But some games did come with like obviously little batteries in it to save your data. So like I said, guys, if you press that one and then press 2, then press 1, you'll launch a game. But if you wanted to play something different, for instance, just say Alien 3, you just have to go to load and start, and as you can see, it erases the game that's been mounted and then writes the game that you've selected to be mounted. So it means when I load this game up and I turn it back off, I just have to do that same thing, press 1, press 2, start the game, and it'll just load straight back up. So it's a good way to get into your game quicker. Looks like a 90s advert, you know, you're okie dokie. Level 1, get ready. Okay guys, so like I was saying earlier about the screen, so if you're looking at it like there, it looks amazing, it really does, but then as you start to get higher like this, you can see it starts to get a little dark, and then it's a bit more or less visible. You can see it's a sort of that inverted looking way. Obviously if you're going to hold it like this, you're going to see it no problem, but as soon as you go a bit higher, it starts to get a bit darker. I don't know why, it doesn't look like they've used a cheap LCD, but my friend who done this one, he has 4 Game Gears, different shells, different mods to it, and he says that everyone has screens of the exact same. They're different screens, they bought different screens from different buyers, different prices, different makes as well, so you know, it's just the way it is. But if I show off this, the Game Boy, Okay, so if you can see that one doesn't actually do it at all. You know, it's obviously just depending on the screen, you know. But you know what, guys, it's a minor issue, and obviously the way that this thing's been built is just, it looks amazing. So it does look really premium looking to me, you know. I mean, that's the thing though, even though compared to, like, say, the, you know, the current handhelds these days, like obviously your Nintendo Switches, your Steam Decks, your ROG Allies, your Lenovo Legion Go's, even your GPT Win Max 2s, even compared to them, the screens are absolutely fine, they really are. The thing is though, guys, for me, I do love playing on original hardware, even though yes, I can emulate any of these games. I've got an original Xbox with every retro game on it, I've got a Wii U with every retro game on it, I've got a PS Vita, I've got PSP, I've got 3DS as well, so there's no lack of me being able to play any of these retro games, you know, but I just love playing on original hardware. I love to maybe, you know, I go into work, excuse me, I'll go into work and I'll take this in with me and I'll be sitting playing on my break and they'll be like, what the hell's he playing, you know, and you know, all these people nowadays are usually glued to their phones. Fair enough, that's just what they want to do. Whereas in me, I'm glued to a handheld, so I can take this in with me, I can take this in with me, or I can take this in with me, I can take my Steam Deck, I can take my Switch, I can take my DS, my 3DS, my PSP, my PS Vita, my Game Boy Advances. I can take any of those ones in. Whatever I'm in the mood for to play, then I'll obviously go for that. And yeah, honestly, guys, I'm really happy with this thing. So I paid a total of £180 for this thing. It would actually tell a lie, but £184.99, that was including shipping. I contacted the seller and asked them if they would, I've been watching this thing for about maybe 6 weeks, contacted the seller, asked them if they would take £180 for it. They wanted £220, and because they had it for so long, they decided, obviously, right, okay, fair enough. So they took my offer. I couldn't be more happier. It showed up about 2 days later. I've been playing it non-stop. I waited and I bought a new shell, new buttons, a new lens. My friend said, I'll do it for you, no problem, which he did. It only took him about an hour to do it all. And yeah, I couldn't be more happy with this thing, guys. I really do love Game Gear, and there's so many great games on here as well that I do love playing. Plus the fact that you can play every Master System game and every SG, you know, 1000 game as well is just wow. It is so good. But anyway, guys, that's it for the end of this video. I hope you did enjoy this one. This is my grey Sega Game Gear, and I do absolutely love this thing, guys. I really do. So let me know when I call it. So the guys will speak again. Let me know in the comments down below, what's your favourite Sega Game Gear game, and even what's your favourite Sega Master System game. The thing is, well, guys, I didn't grow up with Sega. I grew up with Nintendo. So I had Game Boy, NES, SNES, N64. I didn't get a Mega Drive until I was in my late 20s, and I didn't, well, I got, when I was younger, obviously I got a Sega Dreamcast, and then not long after that I got a Sega Saturn, but then, you know, you just get rid of these things. You don't know how much you're going to want them again in the future, and, you know, whatever else. So anyway, guys, that's it for the end of this video. I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, smash the like button, throw me a devil horns. Also subscribe to my channel for more epic handhelds like this, and sayonara. By the way, if you wonder what that flashing is right there, that's the dongle for the Hunter Xbox original wireless controller. If you watched that last video, go right ahead, you'll see how cool this thing is. And yeah, so sayonara.